Hey, welcome back, everyone. Once again, we are returning to, I guess we could call it the My Favorite Tag Team Tournament. In general, I've just been saying Tag Team Tournament, but, you know, my favorite Hasbro tournament, my favorite LJN tournament. Why not call it the My Favorite Tag Team Tournament as well? Pretty much the same thing. So, first four videos, we were looking at the LJNs. In video 5, we started the Hasbro version, or I guess Group B for Hasbro's. It looks like we're only going to do about 3 videos for Hasbro. And then once we get to Group C, we'll start working on Galoobs and then Remco. And any tag teams I don't have or that I can't do on can't do loose, we'll look at the carded version. But so we've been sticking to 4 tag teams or 4 matches per video. We'll keep that trend going for this video. So let's get started with the first random drawing, and we're looking at the Series 2 Bushwhackers as they square off against Demolition. Alright, and then Twin Towers will square off against the Natural Disasters. Now that one sucks because that's a difficult decision. Smoking Guns, and that one's going to have to feature a carded figure. It's going to square off against the Head Shrinkers. And last matchup is going to feature It says Mega Maniacs, but I thought I already did Mega Maniacs. You know what? It's Mega Maniacs, but I think I may have done the... So what? I'm going to do Mega Powers because I think I might have put Mega Maniacs instead of Mega Powers yesterday. So I'm going to do Mega Powers. And they're going to square off against Rhythm and Blues. Easy fix, no big deal. Alright, so I'm going to pause here and grab those figures. Alrighty. Alright, everybody. I am back with the all 4 sets of matches. And so most of these I grabbed are just duplicates. So some of the paint analyzed figures aren't the best. We can make do. And I should probably sit closer to the computer. I try to sit further back so that the displays in the background would look pretty good, but hopefully you guys can still make these out pretty well. Alright, so the first matchup we were looking at were the Series 2 Bushwhackers versus Demolition. I didn't specify which version of Demolition, so I just grabbed all 3 figures. Would 3 on 2 really make a difference? Make it unfair? I don't think so. You know, great figures would offset the difference anyways. But Series 2 Bushwhackers. Aesthetically, love the look of the Bushwhackers. As a kid, huge fan of the Bushwhackers. But, you know, independents, whatnot, the Sheep Herders, you know, they were like real brute forces. Jim Duggan was like another type guy. Just a real hard ass, you know, and everything. But then, you know, they come down to the WWF and all of a sudden, you know, they're not your top level tag team champion type wrestlers. Yeah, they win some matches here and there, but, you know, the Rockers, they weren't like your like mega superstar, you know, heavyweight champions, but like they were always highlighting like Royal Rumbles and WrestleManias and stuff like that. Like every time I, you know, look at like my Coliseum videos, they were always, you know, doing battle against someone, always winning matches. These guys, very infamous for coming into like Royal Rumbles and being tossed out in like 5 seconds. And I talked about in like the 89 Royal Rumble tape, I got in and I watched it. And, you know, Butch, he came in and he was in there for a significant amount of time. I don't know, 20 minutes, 15 minutes, something like that. 25, I don't remember how long. And then Luke came in, he was in there for maybe 10, 12 minutes. for the Bushwhackers, yeah, that was a pretty good amount of time. Was it really that long? Probably not. It just felt that way. But generally, these guys are in that Rumble match for like a matter of seconds. And it's humiliating and a complete waste of a roster spot. I love them as kids. I can't stand them as an adult because they are just not fun wrestlers, you know. Just it's an embarrassment, and it just makes that type of competition unpleasant. It just doesn't. It's not enjoyable. One of the things I did enjoy is seeing these guys guest star in an episode of Family Matters back in the day. You know, watching them on TGI Friday. You know, back in the day, like Boy Meets World and Family Matters and Sabrina the Teenage Witch and things like that. So that was pretty awesome. But good figures. The pose on Butch is obviously better, even though the Luke figure, you know, I really love this action. That looks pretty nice, but not really a playable figure. Neither figure is really something that can really stand on its own. Butch a little bit better. Luke is almost an unstandable figure for the most part. You basically got to tape these guys down, and even then, they are constantly tumbling over. Really frustrating figures themselves. And like I said, these are all duplicates, so they're all like not in the best condition. But Demolition. In Series 1, on single card, you got Smash and Axe. And then in Series 2, you got a re-release with Smash and Crush on dual card. And Crush, obviously, is always going to be the most important figure. Individually, you're probably looking at about a $20 figure, if not more. And let me pause real quick. Sorry, guys, I had to go blow my nose real quick, so I'm back now. Alrighty. Where was I? Crush. One of the best figures. I can't wait to get this Crush figure in for LJN style. Amazing piece. In fact, I think me and Wrestling Roderick, we keep talking about the LJN style Crush I want, and I keep asking about this version I saw on YouTube, but this is actually the Crush I want, you know, the Hasbro style. So I don't know why I keep asking him for like a blue face version. So I gotta talk to him about that. And then, you know, Smash and Axe. I mean, this is like the most popular tag team that I could think about. Good poses, you know, the little bent, the press that so many of these figures have, you know, like Hulk Hogan and Warrior and Bulldog, stuff like that. So, I like these type of poses a whole lot better. Demolition is like one of the most dynamic tag teams of all time. Back in the day when Vince McMahon couldn't get in the Legion of Doom, he had to create his own Legion of Doom type characters, you know, same type of leather and face paint, and they called Demolition a ripoff. But funny thing is, in the early 90s, when they actually brought Legion of Doom in, finally contracted Legion of Doom, they didn't, fans didn't really gravitate towards LOD the same way, because they start thinking of LOD as ripoffs of Legion of Doom. Even though LOD or Road Warriors pretty much predated Demolition at that time, but kind of weird, but 1,000,000%. I mean, there's not even a question. As a fan of Demolition, of their style of wrestling, of their brutality, of their look, even the name itself, I mean, 1,000,000% all around. Everything you can imagine about the team, the figures, the names, just everything. Of course, Demolition is going to absolutely demolish the Bushwhackers. Bushwhackers is out, and Demolition is in. Alright, next set is going to feature the Natural Disasters. So you got a few figures, Bam Bam Bigelow, and then Typhoon and Earthquake from Hasbro, all with the same body types. You know, for bigger figures, I mean, they stand okay. Sometimes you just gotta sit there and kind of like gotta spread their legs out a little bit like that, kind of balance them in order for them to stand. I mean, they will stand on their own, but you know, not perfectly. theoretically would like for their legs to be, side by side, but good looking figure. If you actually look at the new Mattel Retro and you look at the type of the tugboat figure, it is absolute trash. I do not like the Mattel Retro. I think it's hideous. I buy it just because I need it for the collection, especially if I want to stick with all of the Mattel Retros, have the complete collection. But the Typhoon, this figure, blows that figure out of the park. You can't even compare. Absolutely amazing. Love the tidal wave on here. Typhoon figure, awesome. Joining forces with Earthquake. These two together, amazing. Shockmaster. I just learned from JP's World Wrestling that Typhoon was Shockmaster in WCW. And, JP, he has an amazing amount of stories and history. And I've actually learned so much from his channel as well. I actually thought that it was actually Earthquake who was Shockmaster. So all this time, I've actually got it backwards. And it was nice to learn about that. Legion of Doom, in my opinion, when these guys became champions, really were the only tag team, in my opinion, that ever had the ability to legitimately take these guys down as champions. And could you imagine having a team? The Rockers were smaller guys. We just looked at the Bushwhackers. Man, these guys would toss the Bushwhackers around. They would absolutely obliterate those guys. To me, in the last video, we looked at High Energy, Coco Beware, Bushwhackers, glorified jobbers, in my opinion. Nobody special. I love these guys. These guys were amazing. Royal Rumble, man. I don't know what it is about Royal Rumbles that always excite me, but just kind of seeing these guys go at it in the Royal Rumble and just see Earthquake grab Typhoon and kind of belly flop him over the ropes and just kind of look him down like, hey, every man for himself. You could have just waited to the end and at least have one of you two guys go, win the title. Because what are the chances that someone else is going to be able to toss you guys out? They will square off against, probably, in your guys' opinion, not the best selection, and I get it, but against the Twin Towers. So, why do I say it's not the best selection in possibly your guys' opinion? I chose the Series 3 Big Boss Man. And I went with the custom Akeem over the yellow original Series 1 version. One, I like the blue better than the yellow. I'm more familiar with this color, so I like it better. Two, I went with the Series 3 Big Boss Man, the skinnier version. One, it's a better looking figure, much better pose, much more proportionate. And I just love the pose better. I just think it's 10,000 times better than the first figure. And in the last video, I said, when I selected the Series 8 Bret Hart figure, that I want to give the tag team the best option to move forward, to advance further in the competition. Series 3 Big Boss Man gives this tag team the best opportunity for advancement. Series 8, which is number 3, I believe, on my list of all-time greatest Hasbro figures. So even that figure wasn't enough to help Jim Neidhart advance to round 2. So can Big Boss Man, which I think is like my number 10, I believe, my number 10 all-time favorite Hasbro figure, is he enough to help Akeem advance to a second round against the Natural Disasters? A tag team that I like, individual wrestlers that I actually like. One Man Gang, I didn't know too much about, but I've been watching a lot of old videos, growing to love his character. Akeem, know a little bit better, a little bit more about him, but not too much. Know very little I mean, I know some, but not much about the Twin Towers. Uh, the Akeem figure itself, it's okay. It's not the best figure. It's, it's a high to mid tier figure. I mean, it's definitely not a low tier figure. It's definitely a good one. This is a tough one. I don't want to say goodbye to either tag team, to be honest. We're going. Yes, it's about the figures. It's also about history and nostalgia and memory and what that tag team and what that figure means to you. Everything plays a role. As much as I want to push this team forward, I think if I had selected the Series 1 Big Boss Man, I think the Natural Disasters would have pushed forward. But I think my choice to go with the Series 3 Boss Man did help push this tag team forward. So I am going with the Twin Towers to move forward to round 2. So, in the last video, I messed up. I pulled the tag for Mega Powers, but I didn't pull the figures for Mega Powers. I pulled the figures for Mega Maniacs. And even though I pulled the sticker up or the paper up, I didn't really notice that. All I saw was the word Mega, so I didn't really think about it. And so when I pulled the tag out of the hat, for this video, I saw Mega Maniacs, and I'm like, wait, I already pulled the Mega Maniacs. What's going on? Once I paused the video to go pull the figures, and I went in the back and I pulled the tag to see what I had saved back there. Sure enough, I had Mega Powers back there. So I switched the tag for this video from Mega Maniacs, put the Mega Maniacs back there, brought the Mega Powers back here. So the last video I made should have been Mega Powers, so I'm swapping it. Mega Maniacs was in the last video. Mega Powers is going to be this video. Mega Powers is going to do battle against Rhythm and Blues. And once again, I don't have Greg Valentine separated from the card, so you will see this one carded. I did remove it from the plastic case or the protective case, so hopefully it's going to make it a little bit easier for you guys to see. So we're going to start with the Mega Powers. In general, the Mega Powers tag team were popular or were in full force in the around late 80s, 87 to 89, I believe. So based on that, I went with the two oldest figures from Hasbro. So the Series 1 release in 1990. So the 1990 Series 1 Hulk Hogan and Macho Man are the two figures I selected. And, your Series 1 Macho Man, either this one or, your right extended arm Macho Man, Series 2, Series 3 version. Either one of those are still, probably your best version anyways. Maybe this one's probably your best. I don't know. I could go either way. I still love the Mega Powers. I still think they are an amazing tag team. I didn't have the Randy Savage as a kid. I did have this Hulk Hogan as a kid. So when I did my favorite Hasbro tournament, and I was doing Series 1 first, I was squaring off the figures against each other. These two actually squared off against each other, and Hulk Hogan won. Even though I kind of like the Macho Man figure better because of history and nostalgia and actually owning this figure and having its playability and everything, he actually did move forward. And of course, Hulk Hogan's my favorite figure, so it only makes sense. Absolutely great pieces, nonetheless. Do they move forward against Rhythm and Blues? Don't know. Again, I've said it before with the LJNs. with Honky Tonk Man and Greg Valentine, very familiar with them as individual wrestlers. I can't really remember them too well as a kid as being an actual tag team. I love watching Greg Valentine on these shoot videos. He does on YouTube. If you guys get the opportunity, they're all like 3 minutes to like 7 minutes long or something. So it's not like crazy long, but there's like a million of them there. So somebody did like some super long interview with them, and I just wish they just did one straight video. But he like talks about a little bit of everything, and I guess around that time he was supposed to like go to like WCW or something, and Barry Windham was supposed to be babyface, and he was supposed to leave the Four Horsemen, and so Greg Valentine was slated to sign on with Crockett, WCW, and join the Four Horsemen. And he had tag team with Ric Flair years prior, so he's very familiar already. And of course, his loyalty and respect for Vince McMahon had convinced him to stick with the WWF, and he ended up dyeing his hair and joining forces with Honky Tonk Man, and the gimmick of being like these Elvis impersonators, and and he was a huge Elvis fan already, so, and loving rock and roll and all that, so he said he got a lot of fun from that. But his wife Julie apparently was not a fan of the hair dye, so yeah, that was kind of awesome to hear. So Mega Powers squares off against the tandem of Rhythm and Blues. So first, we will take a look at Honky Tonk Man, and I decided to go with Derek, who is Pumpkin Man 1986 over on eBay with his amazing custom. And I chose this one because I really love the Elvis drawn version here. Just an awesome figure. I didn't bring out the guitar accessory. I don't think it's real necessary. And I think Honky Tonk Man held the Intercontinental title for like a year or something. So every time I kept hearing like, Honky Tonk Man, the greatest Intercontinental champion of all time, I'm like, where is that coming from? Because whenever I hear Honky Tonk Man, Intercontinental champion, all I could think is Honky Tonk Man pinned by the Warrior in like 10 seconds. Realistically, Warrior came in, whooped his butt for, did his little belly flop, whatever, pinned him in like 35 seconds or something. Just the shortest match ever. I'm like, you got a championship match there. You want it to be competitive. You want like a 30, 35, 40-minute match or something. And you're pinned in a matter of seconds. What a waste. But I guess he didn't want to lose the title or lose the title to Warrior or lose it that way. I don't know. But so he's like, you know what? If I'm gonna lose it, I don't want to, do this whole big match. Get it over with type of deal. So that's why it was like under a minute long. I'm like, come on, dude. But he apparently held that for like 300 days, 250 days, something crazy like that. But then you hear a guy like San Martino having like for like 15 years, or Bob Backlund for like 7 years, 11 years, 15, 17 years, however long these guys used to have it back in like the 70s and stuff. So holding it for like a year or whatnot, just under a year, doesn't really feel like that long. But in today's day and age where guys hold it for like a matter of hours to a few days to a few weeks, yeah, almost a year. Yeah, that could be something special. But Honky Tonk Man, it is a great figure. I mean, Honky Tonk Man is one of my all-time favorite figures. I love that look. And the Rhythm and Blues Greg Valentine prototype. And I should have brought out the Mattel Retro version. But the prototype of the Hasbro so much better than the retro anyways. In fact, is this? No, I'm not even going to try to open this. End up ripping the package. Yeah. It's a pretty awesome package, I think. So, got Andre and Hakeem, Hacksaw from Series 2. Series 2, Macho Man, Roddy Piper. Series 1, Ravishing Rick Rude. Series 2, Superfly. Series 1, Jake Roberts. Series 2, Dusty Rhodes. Series 1, Brutus and Warrior. That's actually Series 3, Hogan up there. And then Series 1, Boss Man and $1 Million Man. Yeah. So with this one, they actually cut off the arms of the Series 3 Greg Valentine and they just put on new arms. Probably the same exact arms from your Series 2 Honky Tonk Man figure. So with these particular figures, there is no shadow of a doubt. Rhythm and Blues all day, every day. They're just so much better figures. Yeah. I mean, I can't even beat around the bush on this one. I'm sorry. I want Mega Powers to move forward, but not when that's your competitor. Mega Powers is gone, and Rhythm and Blues is moving forward. And your last matchup is going to feature the Head Shrinkers as they square off against the Smoking Guns. So once again, we'll work on the Smoking Guns first. So I had Bart Gunn loose, and I went out and I found a seller on eBay who had the original green card backing with bubble. And since I already had the figure loose, I might as well just gone and bought the card backing. Because if you buy a brand new figure or brand new figure on card, you're probably paying $400+. And I think I got the original card on Bubble for like $75 purchase price or something. So, and I'm okay just taping it up, whatever. It's just more about having this card and whatnot. Same thing with the 1-2-3 kid. Buying the bubble and card, costs like $200. Having the 1-2-3 kid figure, bam, slap it in there, call it a day. As opposed to getting a mint on card figure, paying like $1,000, $1,200 or something crazy, So based on these individual figures, 1,000,000%, there's not even a reason to even play around. The Smoking Guns all day, every day are gonna just absolutely crush the Head Shrinkers. But so, and then Billy Gunn. So what does Billy Gunn go by? I don't know if Bart Gunn, I don't know if he still wrestled, but Billy Gunn, he had a couple gimmicks, I think. There were a couple different cowboy gimmicks. So their gimmick was, was rip off of some other thing, but there have been a lot of different rip offs over time. I mentioned how Demolition was kind of like a rip off of the Road Warriors, and even Legion of Doom themselves were basically a rip off of themselves because they were kind of rip off of Demolition, and Demolition was rip off of Road Warriors, and Road Warriors is what Legion of Doom. So, which is kind of funny that they would call Legion of Doom ripoff, because it actually says on the actual AWA Rumco packages, Legion of Doom Road Warriors. So they are still going by both names. I don't understand it. even though I already know that I'm going to select, or I have already selected the smoking guns, what I really love about these figures, I mentioned several times before, even though they're both top heavy, even with fused legs and being top heavy, you never worry about the head shrinkers falling over. They always stand up perfectly fine. You never have to lean them up against anyone. And they're, they got good wide arm poses, body stand poses, jumping off, clothesline. Very useful figures, a lot of fun, enjoyment, great look. You throw on some custom accessories, they look spectacular. Beautiful look, beautiful figures, awesome, great design. More Samoans to add to the family tree. Love them. Great, awesome pieces. Super valuable. I love them. Just not good enough to move on to round 2. At least not in this particular matchup. Maybe if they had faced some other competitors, sure. But smoking guns, just too good for this particular battle. The head shrinkers. But, again, among the original Hasbro tag teams, they're probably like number 4 or so. Maybe number 5. It depends on how well you covet the Series 10 Bushwhackers. Like I said, Nasty Boys and Legion of Doom are probably 1 and 2. And maybe Demolition, I'd probably rate higher. Steiner Brothers, definitely. And, these guys right there, right behind them. So, alright, so that will conclude this video. And I am going to stay down here, film one last video. And looks like I only have about 3 more matchups. So, yeah, there's no reason why I shouldn't stay down here and film that last video. Alright, thank you for watching, everybody. And I will see you in the next video. Goodbye, everyone.